Hi guys, I am Catherine Murphy, and here's my video discussion for Module 6. There we go. Okay, so the first question was, how are gradual release of responsibility model and Camborne's conditions for learning similar? So the first thing I noticed that were similar between the two was teacher modeling. We see teacher modeling in the gradual release model, in the I do step, and in the demonstration condition in Camborne's conditions for learning. We see that teachers demonstrate how to complete a task or skill. I noticed that scaffolding was also present in both gradual release and conditions for learning. We see it in gradual release as students shift from the I do, we do, y'all do, you do steps. And one thing about that is I have only ever heard of I do, we do, you do. I never was exposed to that y'all do portion of it until this class. And I love that addition of students interacting with each other with the content instead of only with the teacher. I love it. It's incredible. And then in the use condition, in Camborne's conditions for learning, we see that students need to be given opportunities to practice their developing skills in class to be able to eventually do it on their own. Engagement was super relevant to both. In the gradual release model, we see it in the we do and y'all do steps, and it is a huge, if not the most important part of Camborne's conditions for learning, because he said if students do not engage with the demonstrations by the teacher or with the resources available to them, the learning will not happen. And one thing I noticed was kind of the overarching goal for both gradual release and the conditions for learning is the eventual goal is student independence, for students to be able to do these things on their own. The second question was, how do these two models build on Vygotsky's theories? So the first one that I noticed was ZPD, or the zone of proximal development. This is the difference between what the learner can do with help and without help. And that is exactly what the gradual release model is all about. Taking what a student may know a little bit about, but can't really do on their own, helping them go through those steps to eventually, release them gradually, not all at once, and be able to eventually do it on their own. Vygotsky's concept of social constructivism. According to Vygotsky, learning and development cannot be separated from their social context. Learning is collaborative and develops from interactions. I'm so sorry if you can hear that vacuum. Social constructivism is a part of both gradual release and the conditions for learning as students interact with each other. There's a lot of like peer work. I'm so distracted now, sorry. Okay. The concept of the MKO, or the more knowledgeable other, is also present in both gradual release and the conditions for learning. We see the concept of an MKO in the teacher modeling, guided practice, and collaborative practice steps of the gradual release. And students are interacting with an MKO in the response learning condition. In this condition, learners must receive feedback that is relevant, appropriate, timely, and non-threatening from an MKO to learn. And lastly, prior knowledge. A huge potential roadblock for comprehension is lack of prior knowledge. So again, that's kind of what the gradual release model is all about, is building on that prior knowledge gradually over time to aid in comprehension and eventually lead to student independence. So one question that I still have is, are there other strategies that help teachers support student independence? Again, I feel like that was kind of the main point or the main goal of everything we've talked about in this module. So I'm just curious, maybe y'all's thoughts on what other strategies, in addition to what we learned today, that there might be for students and teachers. Thank you.